Whoa!
Oh, it's another episode of the greatest podcast in the game.
Good Lord!
Coming to you live on World Turtle Day.
World Turtle Day, you pigs.
I've finally made a spreadsheet that tells me what date all the episodes come out on, so I'm far more cognizant of where we're leading up to. And this is it is a very special week.
Yes.
The week that this episode comes out. And I'm sure you're aware, 23rd of May.
Yeah.
That's pretty close to another pretty important date.
Your birthday.
I wasn't expecting you to actually get that. I was going to play a little prank on you.
No, good friend, solid man Mike knows when his friend's birthday is.
Do I know when your birthday?
I haven't a clue. I thought this earlier.
I can figure it out.
I want
8th of February.
No.
February?
Yeah, it is February.
The 23rd?
That's pretty good. No.
15th?
No.
It's not 14th. You're not a lover boy?
No, my cousin actually, Ashton, hers is on the 14th, Valentine's Day.
And that's why you fancy her?
No! What the? No! That's not true. It's a woman that's married with 2 children. Don't be saying such scurrilous things. Don't say that. No, but she did grow up across the road from me and we were very good friends. What the hell is that about now?
That was just nothing. What are you talking about? I didn't look anything.
This is all very Lord Byron. I'm going to talk about famous English poet Lord Byron in a while. But
coming up on the podcast, we'll be talking about Lord Byron.
Lord Byron, which you're all chomping at the bit for. You're wondering, when the fuck are they going to address Lord Byron? It's been the elephant in the room for over a year now. So let me ask you this.
Let me get your birthday.
Okay.
The 12th?
No. Do you know what? I've been unkind because one of the things you said was very close to it. And
I think that the 23rd was very close to it.
That's right.
24th?
No.
22nd.
Yay! Well done.
It's not. I knew the month. I think that's pretty.
But you know what? I thought I actually had this thought today, and I said to myself, "Do you remember you have these things where you're like, oh, Mike doesn't listen and stuff?" And I was like, "Do you know what? I think I know more about him than he knows about me. If I had to guess."
That's because you're a pervert.
No, it's not.
That's not from listening to me.
It is from
I've
listening.
never told you what my birthday is.
Huh?
You've just been perving on my Facebook, perhaps.
No, not at all. It's just I care and I'm a friend and love and camaraderie and manship together. What? Manship. It's the connection of platonic men.
Manship.
Yeah, manship.
Kinship.
Yeah, kinship, manship, ladship, fellery.
Fellowship? Why did you go away from the only one that is actually a word?
I don't know.
You took a real turn. You said manship.
Yeah. That's right.
Ladship.
Yeah.
And then you decided to go for fellery?
Fellery. Do you know what? I think there's something in my subconscious that just does not want to be correct about anything.
Just avoids the English language at all costs.
That's right. But
Tommy Tiernan had that old bit that was very funny where he said the English language is so restrictive. It's like a wall between me and you, and fuck is my chisel.
Yes, that's right. That's the Irish person's chisel at the English language. But what I was going to say to you, lad, is because I was thinking, would he even know how many brothers I have and what their names are?
Now that's a blurry figure anyway, I think.
No, it's not. I just talked to myself this morning. I was like, that fucker doesn't know any.
I've never met a member of your family.
He accuses me of
I've never met a member of your family.
That doesn't matter.
Just because I'm open and I
haven't met fucking.
I bring people along. I involve cousins. I am full of nepotism, and you've met my older brother, but not my younger brother.
I've never met Alessandro. I know he was a young boy bride. And he's been child bride, and he was married into slavery of some sort. I know these things, but I know you have a cousin. She's a great singer. I know you have another cousin.
She's going viral on TikTok, actually.
Huh?
She was on Radio 1 recently.
This is what I'm saying. I know that. I know you've got your talented cousin. You've another cousin whose lungs are full of cum, who we have employed. I know your father is a known paedophile.
A great man.
Your father is a great man. I know he has a short temper, and he's Italian. Yeah, and he's a little fella.
Well, I know that. Have you got anything else? I know that your dad eats raw sausages.
Right? Yeah. That's a little funny aside, but yes. What else do you know?
I know that he owns a farm and has thick eyebrows.
Well, they're not that thick.
And there's not enough soap in the world. You said on the last episode of this that your dad had thick eyebrows.
Sometimes I tell lies. Sometimes I throw in half-truths to muddy the waters to keep you on your toes.
I know that your mum sings in a choir.
That's right.
And she's a very nice lady.
She's a beautiful woman.
Very proper lady.
That's right.
And I know that you've got...
What?
A brother called Pa.
Yeah!
You got a brother called... Pa's the oldest?
Yes! Hurrah!
And neither you nor Pa were very good at the farm stuff.
That's right, yeah.
But there's another brother who is good at the farm stuff.
What's his name?
It's not John, he's the actor.
Yes! Oh! You've done well now.
Who's gay.
Yeah! Come on! Suck that cock. Johnny.
And then, is Nimnog in charge of the farm now?
Oh, yes! Nimnog. The glorious King Nimnog.
And then I have a notion that you have like a secret sister that you've never spoken about.
No, lad, we don't. But I
it's
wouldn't
all the boys, all the rice boys.
But my father is quite Chinese in his outlook on.
There may well have been sisters,
and they're somewhere down the bog. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised. My father.
Sure, they'd be no use on the farm.
No, they wouldn't. No, but see, you're saying that in a joking way, whereas my father would genuinely be. He's been known to say things like, "Sure, daughters are an absolute 100% disaster." Disaster. And then he has stories about, he's like, "Sure, our neighbour Neddy Murphy, the poor man, had 4 daughters, and sure now the place, there's no one running the place, and sure it's absolute nightmare."
I mean, the blind panic, after daughter number 2 for an Irish landowning farmer.
That's right.
You just be like, oh fuck.
Well, that's right.
You're just like fingers crossed for a lesbian.
Well, just a strong fucking, woman.
Bull of a woman.
A bull of a woman that maybe we could give a certain haircut and say is a man. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But also...
Well, maybe there's hope for that fella in the trans movement.
Oh, please God. Yeah. And honestly, I think the trans movement has been a great thing for Irish farmers. Because it has solved a lot of queries. And... What? Queries? Yeah, sick. The queries community. Gender query. But seriously, this is true. That now, because obviously land and farm and succession is so important for farmers, and then you'd have all these daughters, and maybe they wouldn't want to farm. And you say now that the land is going to go to the English or to the government, or it's going to go away, which is the biggest bad thing that can happen. But so now all they have to do is, hey, listen, Julie, I've got some news for you. You're about to be James.
Chop your damn tits off.
Chop the tits off. Say goodbye to your vagina and say hello to spreading slurry every day and living the life of a farmer. No, seriously. So it's actually been, you would think Irish farmers, Catholic conservative people
would be anti-trans,
resistance trans. These are the
regressive views.
These are the most pro-trans people on earth.
I think it was John Maher said his dad was bizarrely progressive about trans stuff because he had grossly misunderstood gay issues.
Okay.
So when the gay agenda was on the table and that was being discussed a bit, John's dad was like, look, some people are just born in the wrong body and that's why they fancy fellas. And then when the trans thing came up, everyone was like, some people are born in the wrong body. And he's like, I thought we'd covered this.
So he thought if you were gay, you were a woman. Right.
Deep down inside. And that's why he wanted to fuck man.
You're a lady. Man,
so he was ahead of the curve, but way behind the curve.
He was
so wrong. He was right.
He was chasing his own tail up in the sky of ideas, in the marketplace of ideas. He was so wrong. He was right.
Yeah. I just said that.
Fuck. But sometimes isn't it good to reiterate the point? To hammer it home, as Chris Rock would say. Sometimes you repeat the point.
Yeah, you're repeating the premise.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're so wrong, it's right.
Yeah.
But no, what I would like to discuss and it's related to what we were just talking about, and what I think we should make is a sketch or a spoof version of Succession, but it's just your dad on the farm.
Lad, it would be so good. He is so...
which is a show I've never seen because people are really bad at recommending that show, Succession.
Okay, do you want me to give you a good pitch?
Can I tell you what every other pitch has been to me anytime someone tries to get me to watch Succession?
Yeah.
Every time someone gets me to watch Succession, they describe their favourite scene, or when I hear them talking with their friends about it, they're talking about their favourite scene, and it sounds like the most boring show that's ever existed.
Yeah.
They go, oh, what about the scene where he eats pasta? And I go, this can't be a good show.
Right. I don't know anything about the scene where he eats pasta. I do know there's a piece
What about when the board meeting happens?
Do you know, and there is a lot of jargony scenes in it where you don't really know what's going on. But it's punctuated by, just brilliant scenes.
Yeah.
There's actually a few episodes in it in the lead up and generally at the start of the seasons where it's like, this is a little bit of gobbledygook mumbo jumbo land we're in right now. And you know what I mean? That let's get to the fucking meat and potatoes of things.
Yeah.
But so there is a scene where Tom Wamsgans, who's Logan Roy's son-in-law.
That name is too Jewish.
He's not Jewish, lad. He's not at all. No, Wamsgans is not Jewish at all.
What's that name?
He's from fucking like Illinois. Like he's like a social climber.
Is Wamsgans like that kind of German American weirdness?
Yeah.
Wamsgans, the opposite of Jewish.
Absolutely the opposite of Jewish. He'd hate that comparison, in fact. But Wamsgans at one point, like,
he would bristle.
Who is a kind of a weak Weasley character in a way, but also in another way, kind of the smartest of all of them in terms of hierarchy and climbing up. But one point,
and you're saying he isn't Jewish?
Huh?
And you're saying he isn't Jewish?
I know, it's scarcely believable.
He's weak and Weasley and...
would you stop? What the hell now? At what point do we say enough is enough?
Weak and Weasley and good at climbing the ladder?
Come on.
I think his foreskin might fall off by itself.
Oh, less of it. I tell you, the only... Actually, do you know what?
That was very anti-Semitic, all those things I just said.
Yeah, and wrong and bad, and I don't agree with this.
Oh, I wasn't going to say that, but I was just saying that.
I know. I'm saying it for me, so that the record can show I'm clean. So when this is shown in court, Mike gets sent back to, the comfort of his own home, and you go to prison to get ass raped by some sort of a Polish man.
I like the
Poles
idea
would
of...
have a field day with you in jail.
I think there would be a camaraderie. Camaraderie.
Camaraderie. A camaraderie
between me and the Poles.
The Poles.
No, I think I would get on with the police. I just like the idea of saying something offensive and then like openly being like, "Oh, that was offensive for this reason," but not apologizing. I think that's quite funny.
It is fun. It is funny and it's fun, but I just want to kind of let you be on your own.
You want to disavow me?
Yeah. I do think you've just tapped upon something very interesting there, though. If you go to jail, pretend you have the mind of a toddler, and then if someone shags you or, jail rape, they're pedos. And who gets the hardest time in jail? Pedos.
That's true.
So you pretend you've the mind of a toddler.
Hello.
Like Emma Stone and Poor Things. Hello. Does anyone want to help me with my drawings? And then the kind of rapists are like, God, I can't. They go, please, mister.
No.
He's coming for my bum.
Just
no.
shitting yourself.
Yeah, shitting yourself. Lad, it's the only way you can go. If you're doing white collar crime, there's a
top tip from Mike and Vittorio's Guide to Parenting.
That's right.
If you're doing white or blue collar crime, just pretend to have the mind of a child.
If you have NordVPN, you get caught doing whatever. No, we'll cut that. But the Japan anyway. But
you can't interrupt yourself saying that nationality.
So, but if you find yourself in jail, you're fresh meat. You've got a lovely...
There could be people listen to podcasts in jail.
100% they do. So you're in jail. You're rosy chick. You're not meant for this life. You tried a little scam. You got caught. Oh dear. Right? Now you're in jail. Spaghetti-o. You're afraid you're going to get the big Polish lad, fucking Pavlo, has his eyes on your arse and he's going to make mincemeat. You pretend you're a toddler.
It's very, I think it's very, hold your spoon all stupid and weird.
Hello, Mr. Pavlo. Can I show you the drawing I made of you and the dog? And then he's just like, I don't. But
Are you saying that Pavlov, the psychologist, is in prison raping people?
Not Pavlov. Pavlo.
Well, it was just because you said about the dog.
Oh, that's Pavlov's dog, isn't it?
Yeah.
There was probably some connection in my mind between those things.
You didn't even know.
I didn't even know.
Yeah, that's really funny.
Yeah.
All the things that you just said, and you like the connection in your mind between the things and you didn't realize that they were connected, and it was about Pavlov.
That's right, because that's what the whole thing is, isn't it? So Pavlov's dog, because people mention it a lot now, and a Pavlovian response is just an unconscious response. So every time I gave you...
Do you want me to explain Pavlov's dog?
But can I try it and then you correct me?
Yep, that sounds good. I like that you know what happens in films and you reference... And I reference films that I haven't seen just because I know the kind of pop culture reference, but you do the same with science.
Well, and certainly you do know more about science and the reality of things, and I'm more of a man in the ethereal world. But Pavlov...
Using your third eye.
That's right. But if I was to give you, say now, a chocolate finger, and every time I gave you a chocolate finger...
I thought you were going to say £100, but go on.
And also me saying, giving you a chocolate finger, that does sound like I'm doing something that...
No, this is a different school of psychology. This is kind of Freudian.
So, but if I rang this bell every time I gave you a chocolate finger, and then right, anyway, we go away, and then I'm over there and I ring the bell, and then you'd be like, you'd expect to have a chocolate finger.
Yeah. That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
It's pretty close.
Yeah. So the original is slightly different.
Okay.
So Pavlov would ring the bell and then give the dog its dinner. And then every single time, ring the bell, dinner, ring the bell, dinner, ring the bell, dinner. And then it noticed that it's slightly more unconscious than what you were saying. It's not that I would be like, where's my finger? It's that when he rang the bell, the dog would begin to salivate. Which is an unconscious process, but that neural pathway has been connected so much that even the things, it's not like the dog just starts barking and demanding food.
Right.
It's just that unconsciously its body starts to prepare for food to happen.
That's interesting, because when I was younger, and then I used to have little panic attacks when I was with women, if I was alone with women, because I had one bad experience, and then my body, when I'd be alone with a woman, I'd start to get a little panic attack. Because my body, it was Pavlov. He did it to me. Was it? Am I right in saying that? Am I right in saying what I said?
Doesn't
No.
feel relevant, but it felt like it opened up, just even the mere mention of psychology made you just bring up some trauma.
Yeah. But even it's the same thing with a sleep problem. Like when I was going through insomnia, it's just as soon as you hit the bed, your body now expects this bad thing to happen, so your body...
I think that's more in your conscious mind. I think that's more of you like thinking, oh, I haven't been able to sleep, and then you kind of self-fulfill the prophecy because you start to worry about not sleeping, or like when you're with the woman on your own, you'd be like, oh fuck, last time this happened, I had a panic attack, and then you start to worry about the prospect of having a panic attack, and then it goes...
But I wouldn't even be thinking that my body would just...
Start to panic.
Yeah.
I don't think that's Pavlovian unless... Like, the only way that could be Pavlovian would be if, like, a scientist would, like, present you with a woman by yourself.
Nice.
And then go, boo! And like, scare you, or, like, make you something. Like, or just, like,
I think that'd help things.
As soon as the woman would come in, he would just go, what about your tax return? How's that
going? Oh, my Jesus!
And then
that
No! But then, if he did that a whole bunch of times, then every time the woman was there, you would start to go, oh God, expenses.
Okay, and one more question then. The dessert, a pavlova.
Nothing to do with the guy.
Are you sure?
Nothing to do with the guy.
That was never fed to a dog.
I think that's a ballet dancer, Pavlova, or like an opera singer. I think it's like...
Didn't she win Wimbledon at one stage? Maria Pavlova?
No, Maria Sharapova, who used to go out with Rory McIlroy.
Were her and McIlroy?
Yeah.
Are you sure now?
Yeah.
Jesus, good man. I tell you one thing. I'd say McIlroy would. I'd say he'd be a fucking wild enough lover now. Do you know what I mean? I was sure anyone who gets is that rich and powerful from a young age is into freaky, rotten shit. Do you know what I mean?
Quite
shoving
like
gerbils up your arse.
He's a real buttoned-up Protestant fella. Like, he's a real buttoned-up prod.
He's not. I think one of his parents is Catholic and one is Protestant.
Mad blood.
So I think he is I think his whole thing is like, don't be fucking putting me on either side, chief. I'm just here to make a few moolah.
You probably wouldn't like him. He used to pay the salaries of some Ulster rugby players.
Did he?
Yeah.
No,
or at least some of them.
I don't like that. Who? Paddy Jackson and the other fella?
No, Ruan Pinar.
Who's Ruin Peanut? He's South African lad, is he?
Yeah. And there's a salary cap, but then Rory McIlroy was paying them. I don't think technically on the slide, but kind of on the slide.
Every time everyone says salary cap, I just think of someone with a little hat that says salary on, and they're just like, "It's my salary cap."
Well, that's
all
the merch.
The jokes can't be good.
That's the
but
merch.
Can some of them is what
we'll
they
sell
must be
salary
asking.
caps in the merch. There's merch coming soon, by the way. We are working on it.
A salary cap would be fun. But what I was going to ask you is, or say to you, is this: you, as a good citizen of the world, voted.
It says good citizen on my socks.
Yeah, because you voted.
I did vote.
Your democratic obligation, some would say.
And did you vote, Michael?
That's none of your fucking business.
My lack of vote is private.
I don't talk politics. I think it's uncouth.
I voted. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough to get Lawrence Fox's mayoral campaign over the line. But
God.
we tried our best, you know. I just think him and Billy Piper should get back together and everything would be nice. I do fancy her though.
Billy Piper,
yeah.
I remember her as a
Doctor Who,
a fetching pop star back in the day.
Oh, I remember her as my first instance of being aware of Billy Piper was her as Rose Tyler in Doctor Who.
And was that a big role? Did she kill it?
Yeah, she was the assistant. She was like the lady person who's with Doctor Who. She was with Christopher Eccleston, who lives around here, and you see him at the corner shop sometimes. And he always seems like he's in a rush. And he Instagrams about how much he hates the royal family. Quite a lot for a well-respected actor, I would say. I quite respect it.
I like that.
Yeah,
and
it's good vibes.
And in the show, was she a sex siren? Was she scantily clad and up for mischief?
No, she was real kind of like noughties, late noughties, early 2010s, like, you know, just kind of jeans and a nice top vibes.
Can I ask you this? And I just thought this earlier on today. When I think of like decades, right? 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, it starts to get a little fucking more vague. And there's a definitive like cultural era in all of them. There's a look, there's a type of music, there's this, that. As we go into the 2000s, 2010s, I lived through the 2000s. It's 20 years ago now, 2004. I still don't know what the fucking look was or what the thing was. Did culture just become a fucking mangled mesh of nothing where we just started aping the past and now there's nothing new or original being done? Am I right in saying that?
No.
Look at me. Surely I've said something important there.
No, I think on some level I know what you mean. Number one, I think it's a recency thing where like because we kind of lived through all of it, we saw every bit of culture, but we didn't see the kind of overarching thing of the noughties, where I'm absolutely sure there was an overarching thing in the noughties. I'm sure a huge part of culture in the noughties was defined by Top Gear.
Top Gear?
Yeah.
That was the noughties.
It was the biggest show on TV.
God, that's pathetic. That's what the culture of our teenage years was.
I mean, the biggest show on TV right now is Clarkson's Farm. Let's not act like we've come on leaps and bounds.
Clarkson has a farm now.
We're still in the pocket of Big Jeremy.
It's Clarkson's bought a farm.
Yeah, and he has an Amazon Prime show about it. It's the biggest thing ever.
For fuck's sake.
I haven't seen it, but apparently they had to kill loads of pigs recently. You'd probably quite like it as a show. Apparently
it's growing organic racist cunts on his
farm. He's punching his own produce instead of his producer. But no, I think you'd quite like it because I think simultaneously it shows him as like classic, like his on-screen persona and probably who he is, kind of big arrogant buffoon who comes up with all these schemes, and then there's quite like boring farm people around him trying to actually get things done. Was it the end of the podcast?
Huh?
What was that?
Oh no, this goes off every time if I haven't said anything disgusting in a while.
That was quick.
Oh, Chinese woman's prolapsed arsehole. Go on, carry on.
Okey-doke. But also, apparently, simultaneously, it raises awareness of the issues that the agriculture industry are facing at this time. So I think you'd really like it as a show.
Okay, fair enough. But like
farmers like it, which is kind of a miracle.
Yeah, but I think I think Jeremy just strikes some sort of a chord in the hearts of men of a certain age. I don't know what. He kind of hypnotizes a generation of people. I don't even know what it is. Is it the way he wears his jeans, the shirt tucked in, hands on the side, and people just think, now that lad, we should be listening to him.
Jeremy Clarkson
seems to know.
is the Taylor Swift for middle-aged men.
I think he is, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, if he did a live event, there'd be a lot of middle-aged men like...
Yeah, that was just the background of Top Gear.
Yeah.
There's loads of men dressed terribly in bootcut jeans and brown brogues.
Right.
Just...
How much Muslims is enough Muslims?
Jeremy.
Yeah.
Tell us about... Call that car gay.
Yeah.
He got in trouble. That was in the newspapers once. He called a car a bit ginger beer, which is Cockney rhyming slang for slime. Cockney rhyming slang for queer.
Ah, right. But so you're telling me that Clarkson, the 2000s, that's what our culture was Jeremy Clarkson.
Yeah, it was just Jeremy Clarkson going, this is the fastest car in the world.
And that's 2000s because you think of like 80s, you think of
it was
like
a big part
glam
of
rock,
it.
The
boy bands were a prevalent part of culture in the 2000s, more than they ever had been really before.
90s coming into 2000s, yes.
100%, yeah. So that's absolutely a thing.
Right.
And then your 2010s is kind of defined by hip-hop. I would say hip-hop, rap becoming more pop than it ever had been before, because in the 2000s, rap wasn't pop, rap wasn't topping the actual charts.
Well, it was, because Eminem was the biggest artist of the whole 2010. He's the highest selling artist. And probably behind him.
Yeah, that was probably the beginning of that.
Far behind him is like Kanye West. And
but it was still seen as like countercultural. But the 2010s, rap became mainstream culture.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that. Okay, I'm starting to see
all
now.
like what I mean is like all the biggest artists in the 2010s were all doing hip hop or collaborating with hip hop.
Okay, so what I want to get to here is, let's say even like the fucking dress sense, the style. You think of like the 80s to 70s. There's a defined thing. Right now, we're just recycling that. So right now, everyone is just dressing like the 90s again with these baggy things and blah, blah, blah. There's nothing new going on.
But things were always being recycled from before. Like lots of the things in the 50s and 60s were kind of recycled from the 20s. That's just kind of how culture works.
Yeah, but no, it doesn't. There's no one going around with a fucking, wearing like a plumed helmet and, having a fucking sword by their side.
Yeah, sorry, I meant the 1920s, not the as in 20 AD. I mean, 19.
You're wrong. Because consumerism, the whole idea of mass marketing and individualism and having style came into like fucking existence in like the late 20s by a guy called Edward Bernays, who's the nephew of Sigmund Freud, who used Freud's theories about unconscious desire. Want to shag your mother, your cousin, anyone knew your blood related to Lord Byron. We'll get back
I didn't
to
even
that.
bring up the cousin this time. He was
I'm talking about Freud, not me.
Aisling,
no,
watch your back.
No,
watch your back.
What the hell? What are you talking about?
Watch your back.
What the hell?
Be careful.
Anyway,
be careful in and around your birthday.
He used his uncle Freud's little fucking unconscious desires technique.
Imagine if Freud was your uncle.
Asher, listen.
Jesus Christ.
You'd have to keep your back to the wall at Christmas. I tell you that for a fact. Everyone just up at the wall, just don't turn around. They can't hurt you.
Just like not looking at your ma.
Yeah. Yeah. Imagine that, because you're like, uncle, according to you, I want to shag her. Is that not right? Is that not right?
Is this what you've been saying all around town? You've been saying that I want to fuck her.
Yeah.
And then just anytime you like say the wrong word, it goes, oh.
Yeah.
Just making note of things. Fuck.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, dirty. It would be a nightmare. But so this guy, Bernays, so he uses his uncle's unconscious theories about unconscious desires to just sell everyone this idea of like, just for clothes and like even cigarettes. The cigarettes were sold to women by making these ads, because no women smoked up until like the 30s, because it was just seen as uncouth and it was just a man thing. And women, you fuck, stay there and we'll smoke. But anyway, next thing, they sold them to women by equating, they did these things which equate smoking a cigarette with having a cock, so that basically women, by smoking subconsciously, they too could become a man and powerful and all these things. And the next thing, cigarettes were selling like hotcakes. He also came up with...
Because women wanted to feel like they were sucking a cock.
Not sucking a cock, having power, having agency, autonomy, being the on the top rung of society, the top,
I think you've got this wrong.
No, listen to me. I know. This is Edward Bernays, the nephew of Sigmund Freud. He was a master manipulator.
Is that not a sauce?
Huh?
Is that not a sauce?
What?
Bernays sauce.
It could be a sauce also. A man can also be a sauce. You don't have to just be a man. It's 2024. You can be a man and a sauce. You could be a sauce too. Come on, believe in yourself.
You're a sauce of extreme left, huh?
Now he's back to the prison toddler. Remember that. Become a toddler in prison. But one last point on Bernays. He was also the first one to come up with like celebrity endorsements, that whole idea. So there was the president in charge in America in the 20s, like he was really down on the polls. And what Bernays did is he just got a picture of the president.
Are we back to Polish people?
No. Oh, come on. Hey, now. He wasn't down. He probably was down on those polls as well.
Yeah, in the 20s.
It was 20s. People, Irish, Polish and Italian were not white yet. But he was down at the polls. And so then next thing, Bernays...
We were doing our own comedy nights with bad posters.
Yeah. What he did was he got the president to take a picture with all the silent film stars of the time for no reason. So it's just the president, and then he's just surrounded by all the film stars of the time, and just posted in the paper, and his polls went up because everyone. That's how stupid our brains are. It's like, president friend with
good actor man,
good actor man, famous person I like. So that was the first time that was even the beginnings of using just famous people to sell things, to sell people.
To sell ideas.
The whole idea of it.
Endorsements.
That's right, brother. But speaking of the president, you voted.
Because we were still on something about Pavlov or something that got you off on this Bernays chat.
No. What we were on was the idea that right now,
fragmented society is
but there's no defined culture. Like there's no.
But I think this is also because like so much fewer things are ubiquitous nowadays. So for example, in the 60s, the Beatles were the biggest thing in the world because
songs were great.
Their songs were great. They're amazing. But also that was just the only thing you could listen to was what was on the radio, or the only thing that was kind of presented to you was what was on the radio. Like, and there was only a few radio stations, only a few TV shows. So culture was defined by the tastemakers much more, which were the kind of producers of these TV shows and radio shows and all these agencies, and then just basically Jewish fellas.
You really have gone all in today with that sort of chat.
Oh, sorry. I mean, just okay. What was...
So what you're saying is back then, so the 60s, 70s, 80s, everyone watched the same shows. You had 3 channels. Everyone listened to the same music. So everyone was exposed to the same thing. So then they got their same fashion ideas from the same stuff. They got the same advertisements.
Whereas nowadays, I have a friend who's a trumpet player, and come long was asking if my friend could sort him a couple tickets for the gig because he plays with this singer Olivia Dean.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah, I'll message him. Come along, got the tickets, went off to the show, had a great time. And I said to him, how was the gig? And he was like, yeah, it was our 3rd sold out show at the Hammersmith Apollo. And I was like, I'd never...
For a trumpet player?
No, Jack's in the band.
Oh, right.
Have you heard of Olivia Dean, the singer?
No, and I wouldn't like to either.
3 sold out Hammersmith Apollos and you've never heard her name.
That's right.
Isn't that like, that's the perfect thing of like what, like culture is so fragmented that 15,000 people want to go see her in London, probably more than that.
I sold out the Blackfriars in Glasgow twice. No, a lot of people haven't heard about who I am. It's crazy. We're living in a wild, wild world.
But there's people with millions of followers on Instagram that I've never heard of.
Yeah.
And like all these kind of like TikTok stars. So everything is so fragmented. Everybody has a cult following. Very few people break through. And even the people who are the biggest stars on the planet, Taylor Swift, I haven't heard any of her new album because I haven't tried to listen to it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? If I don't just have Radio 1 on, then I'm not getting pelted with what these people think that should be bigger, whatever the kind of culture behemoth. We'll listen to some, because we should talk about the
start to finish,
the new double album. Start to finish would be done by next fucking Tuesday.
That doesn't matter.
31 songs on it.
You sit there and you absorb it.
I would say 31 songs is too many songs.
Is it 31?
Yeah.
That's a piss take. I hate when people do that. Drake does that sometimes. Where he's like, yeah, now there's 27 songs in this one. It's like, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, I like when people were restricted.
Edit.
People were restricted to LPs on their vinyl.
But it's also, you gotta kill some babies. Edit.
Yeah.
They're not all good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Three of them are good.
Yeah.
Right?
They're just surrounded by yes men.
Absolutely.
And also, it's just the digital thing. I do think that there's only so many songs you could fit on a CD back in the day. There's only so many songs you could fit on a vinyl back in the day.
Right.
Like I did my vinyl, which is available for pre-order right now at monkeybarrecords.com. You had to cut the show down to 51 minutes because that's what fits on a vinyl in high quality.
Nice.
Which was like really tricky in the edit. I just like
cut out the sad bit and then there you go.
No.
Cut out the and I cried. And then
it's fun, but that bit's funny as well. But you just cut out some jokes and you're like, it's sad. You're like, fuck, I like that joke. But
right.
Gotta go.
But this is how people should be in general, because the same with film, you can just there's no film, it's all on digital, so you can just keep re-record. It's just everything is just too fat. People aren't editing shit.
The reason for that, and it's from I've been really, really enjoying the Richard Osman and Marina Hyde podcast. The rest is entertainment.
Because you're hearing sneaky little secrets that are giving you ideas to be a sneaky little man.
No, not even. It's just a really, really fascinating insight on culture and how it's made. And they were talking about the reason all these fucking films are way too long now is because the streamers like Netflix and Prime and Apple TV needed to attract the auteurs, the creators, over to their platform. So they had to just give them like carte blanche to do whatever the fuck they wanted to do. Like they just had to say to Scorsese, you can make a fucking 4-hour film. We'll give you endless money to do it. We won't meddle with your stuff. And we all learned that sometimes producers meddling is good.
Yeah, but Killers of the Flower Moon was decent.
It was good.
It's really good.
It was too long.
Nah.
Every scene was really good, but there were too many scenes.
No, I disagree. Sometimes you just you have a little, you don't have the attention span for it.
I like long films. Oppenheimer was great.
I would have preferred Killers of the Flower Moon to Oppenheimer.
Return of the King is a banger.
The Scorpion King with The Rock. Remember that one? First movie out of the WWE?
No. I also I
want to hear this voting story.
I also heard on that podcast.
Why are you refusing to tell your voting story?
What? Because we're just riffing on other stuff.
I know, but I want to hear it.
Yeah, but we're not in a rush.
I know, but I tried to set you up for this voting story now 3 times, and you won't tell it.
We'll get there.
Right. This point better be good.
We still haven't stopped talking about culture in the noughties and the 2010s. I think Kanye is a huge definer of culture in the 2010s. Shutter Shades is what pops into my head when I think about the culture in the 2010s. That was
2008 or 2009. You're thinking of 808s and Heartbreak. That was when the Shutter Shades.
But then 2010s I think is very much kind of late noughties. But then it's always blurrier than it's not like people stopped wearing flares in 1970.
No, 1980s. 70s was flares.
Yeah, and it's not like people stopped doing coke at the millennium.
We're still doing coke now, baby.
Exactly. Well, some of us are. I'm
not doing.
Coke is
still
I'm
fucking
not doing
flying
cocaine.
high, baby.
I'm not doing cocaine.
Are you not? I'm not either.
I hate it.
Huh?
I hate it.
I don't do it much, and I haven't bought it in about 10 years. But sometimes people give me something and I like it.
But I do. I have been intrigued to see your kind of valiant attempts to stay on the straight and narrow and eat clean and not drink and not get on the on
none
the
of that
drugs.
happened at all. Well, no, none of it happened. I was drinking within the second night of the tour. I was drinking. I was in Leeds and
and it's a nice venue and it was a good show.
That's right, and it was a good show. And then
you go, I'll have a pint.
But there was a lot of people, there was people who listened to podcasts who were like, I thought you weren't drinking for the whole thing. And then I was like, and they're like, is this like the second night? And I was like, shut up. Why don't you shut up and let me have my fun?
Keep judging him. Keep pestering him.
But I'll be honest, I rarely went over the top. There was just a lot of nights I'd have a few pints. I didn't do drugs. And there was people who literally come up to me and they're like, look, I'm not going to offer you drugs because I know you said not to do that. And then they'd be like, but do you want some drugs? And I'd be like, no, I better not, So I have been good in that sense. Also, this weekend, I'm going to Bruce Springsteen in Kilkenny. Going to get some MDMA, going to have the best time of my life.
Speaking of a long show, apparently he's doing 3 hours and it's class.
Lad, I've been to Bruce before. The Boss. People follow this man. Some people's lives is following the Boss around on tour. I met a man at a party there last weekend. This is an English man now who's in his 50s, very quite reserved man. And I was chatting to him. I was like, I'm going to Bruce Springsteen next weekend.
Springsteen isn't a Jewish name?
No, it's not. In fact, he would be like... he would represent something completely different. Like he's absolute blue collar.
Springsteen,
small working class town, factories. Yeah. And then you get away.
He's got a good. I think what's good about Bruce Springsteen is that it's not rural. It's not that country kind of like pandering Bo Burnham song where it's like, like I'm on a tractor and I'm picking whatever.
No,
it's working class in a town. It's factories. I think that's it's different. You don't hear that much about that.
And also, his stuff is like paints a very bleak, dark picture of a lot of these places, rather than it just being like, I have my truck and I have a beer. What more could I want? Just shot a deer. And it's like everything is like
that was really good. Did you just make that up?
I did.
That was so class.
Nice. It was good, wasn't it?
That was really good.
But that their whole thing is just like
your life. You're touching me a lot.
Your
these
life
days.
is good these days. I've molested you for months. Like this is going to be your baby reindeer. You know what I mean? It's going to be you showing clips of me.
Got all the
just
footage.
Poking you, touching you, jostling into you. But his thing is he'll have like real like the.
I'd have you played by Beetlejuice. I'm sorry for cutting in.
Beetlejuice plays me. That's actually I just as you said Beetlejuice, I was like, I don't think I'm unlike Beetlejuice.
The carrot.
Yeah. But so Bruce has songs like The River, like Sad Eyes, Atlantic City, like which is like which are just kind of haunting, poetic, like people are dying and killing themselves. Like it's just like there's a real kind of fucking, this is like, these lives can be so depressing and like you're forced into things you don't want to do, and then he has the big anthems like Born to Run, Thunder Road. It's like, I'm getting out. We're leaving.
Yeah.
We're fucking, we've got dreams, we want to get out. So rather than just like telling everyone like the country singers do, your life's the best, you wear a bulletproof vest, and then you go down, you kick a bird nest, and then it's like, and that's like, your life's great. You're
maybe
great.
You should have retired after the first improvised country song, but that's okay. You were confident.
And I thought I was buoyed by your compliments, and then it just didn't. Wear a bulletproof vest. What am I even talking about? Kick a
your
bird
nest.
Your
life's the best. Wear a bulletproof vest.
Kick a bird nest. A man in a bulletproof vest kicking a bird nest.
It's a horrifying image.
That's an awful existence. First off, why is he taking it out on the birds? He wearing a bulletproof vest.
The birds ever do?
I don't know, but he's wearing a bulletproof vest. He's not happy that he has to wear one. Maybe he's like, why don't you shut the fuck up?
Yep.
But so this guy I met at the party, right? And he comes up to me and I was like, I'm going to Bruce next Sunday. And he's like, I've been to Bruce. He's like, I've been to Bruce 25 times. He's like, first time 1984, Wembley in London. It was one of the best nights of my life. And ever since then, I've been enchanted by Bruce. And each gig I go to is better than the last. And there's nothing he leaves on that stage. He gives it all to the audience, and the songs just speak to me. And he's going to Barcelona.
I don't know if I quite buy that he gives it all to the audience, given that he does it multiple nights in a row.
But lad, you should see.
But he gives it
there.
3 hours of absolutely killing it at 70 years old or whatever the fuck
like
he is.
75 now. When we saw him in Kilkenny like 10 years ago, 2014, he did 2 nights in a row. Different sets both nights. A lot of people went to each night. I only went to one. But it was like, I'm surprised they didn't build a statue of him. Like Kilkenny is still talking about it. He does 3 hours. There's babies on stage. He's kissing the babies. He's throwing them, over fucking walls. The baby's dead. No one cares. Everyone's like, ah! And he's like, because as well.
But what's amazing about it? So you've seen, but like I have this idea of like arena music shows, like in those stadiums, just being a bit like detached or like underwhelming, like, and even when the lights and stuff are cool, especially at this time of year, like there's too much daylight and blah blah blah, like it's just like I don't know if I grasp how it's so amazing and so engaging that it's impressive for 3 hours. Because I think like no matter how well you're singing, no matter how cool the dance moves are, I'm a bit like, it must be incredibly well structured in terms of like ebbs and flows and how is it that good?
Because Bruce is up there, right? Guitar strapped around him, and he's kind of a little fella, but he's blocky, but he's got these big arms, like he's He's built the band, the E Street Band. These are one of the best bands in the world. So the band itself is fucking.
They're killing it. They're tight as all hell.
They're as tight as BJ's. They're as tight as, you know. I'm not going to say because something came in my head that I shouldn't say, but you know they're tight and tight as two coats of paint. So they're unbelievable. There's sax players. There was a guy called Clarence something or other, this huge black guy that used to be in the East Street Band. He's not in it anymore, but he was like a legend of it. There's the guy who played Syl in The Sopranos, Steve Van Zandt. He's fucking knocking around there. He has a bandana on. He's white. No one knows what's happening. So they're fucking unbelievable. Bruce is giving it everything. And we're talking sweating. He's fucking up and down the stage. Whoa! Right? Like I said, there's babies being kicked, over the fucking side of the stage. There's fucking, he's dancing with a fox. He's just show business. The songs are just so fucking, like they were made for stadiums, like for arenas. Like they're just so uplifting. Everyone is fucking buzzing, singing along. I'm going to be on MDMA. I'm going to be, it's going to be the best thing ever. But
I still have no concept of any aspect of why I.
Did I not say he was dancing with a fox? Did that not?
Yeah, you just said loads of lies, and then I just actually wanted to know what makes it good. And you went on a kind of mad rant.
But like you're saying, what do you mean? You don't know what makes a great concert great?
Like if a musician did an hour and a half, I'd be like, that was class. They played their new album. They played all the hits. They did this, that, and the other. There was still moments where it was everybody was drawn in. You could hear a pin drop, but there was more raucous moments where everybody was singing along. Everybody's dancing. The lights are crazy. Like. But how is that? I just don't know. How is he sustaining that for 3 hours? That like even the fucking like the Guardian were like 5 stars. Bruce is better than ever. All that shit.
Because the man has stamina. And think about this. You're saying they played all the hits.
But it's not how does he manage to do it. It's how does he keep it engaging?
How do you know how many hits this guy has? It's unbelievable.
I don't think I could name very many Bruce Springsteen songs.
Of course you could.
I could name Born to Run.
Born to Run. Dancing
in the Dark.
There you go.
Yeah, sing more tunes and I'll get them.
Okay.
Born in the USA.
There you go.
Okay, 3 hits.
Yeah. All right.
Sing another one.
You won't know this one. It's called Secret Garden. Theme song of Jerry Maguire. It's unreal. Very romantic. Jerry fucking runs back. He's like, you had me at hello. Everyone comes. These. Right. Because these are the ones that are the most distinguishable, like fucking instrumental at the start. But like,
you can just sing not the words, but the tune of the song of the other ones.
Everybody's a Hungry Heart. You don't know that one? Got a wife and kids in Baltimore, Jack. I went out for a smoke and I never went back. Like a river that don't know where it's going. I took a wrong turn and I just kept going. Everybody's got a hungry heart. You don't know that?
Nope.
Oh, come on, grow up. Get real.
It sounds really good.
It's so
and
good.
I'm not saying it's bad. I've heard he's
Thunder Road? Ooh, Thunder Road. No?
No. I've heard he's a very good tuba player as well.
Huh?
Bruce Springsteen plays the tuba. That is true.
I'm not sure if I've seen him play the tuba.
I don't think he does it on the road.
But I believe
I think he plays it on some of his albums.
So I've heard that about Bruce, like, and I've heard like people talk about him, like even like Jimmy Fallon and people, like when he comes to do Tonight Shows, he comes hours early, like the prep, he's rehearsing it, everything has to be. So he's just his whole being. He only eats one meal a day. And
what is the meal?
Ass. No, I'm joking. Come on.
Is he a multiple divorce fella? Because he seems to be always on tour. He's like one wife the whole time.
So he had.
I always think that's so impressive to be like uber famous and like had minimal. Like one divorce is like absolutely standard for anyone that big.
So he did have one. He has had one, and then, but like I think he's been married to the same lady now since like 1987 or 88, and he has a great song kind of duet with her called "Tougher Than the Rest." You know that song? Maybe I'm tougher than the rest. If you're rough and ready for love, Honey, I'm tougher than the rest. So these. Do-do-do-do-do-do. It's lad. You gotta get onto the Bruce train, brother.
Okay, I'll try and get on the Bruce train.
You might know Atlantic City, where it's just like, what the fuck is the chorus? It's like, everything that dies one day comes back. Anyway, we'll play some Bruce at the break. Get you up to speed.
Okay.
Okay. What are we time-wise? Surely. 49. Good Lord. Can we get this voting story?
Yeah.
I want to hear it.
We're supposed to talk about the voting story.
I've been trying to get you to say it for so long.
We're also supposed to talk about Challengers in this episode.
We'll talk about that in the Patreon. Challengers, the movie. We've got opinions about it.
I don't think the voting story is crazy long, but it's... So I went to vote. Number one, have you ever voted?
Yes. No. I have. No, I have.
Have you actually?
Yeah, I did. I voted in some fucking election there in Ireland once. I didn't like it. I didn't like how it felt. I don't want to contribute.
That was the referendum on the 8th Amendment.
Yeah. Isn't it like, even like me frivolously saying like I haven't voted. I didn't even know it was happening, to be honest. But I mean, it is kind of a little bit pathetic. You know, I even feel of myself. It's just like, no, I don't vote. It's just like the lack of political engagement. There is something a bit.
I'll tell you what. If you read the fucking booklet of all the kind of like pitches of all the candidates to be London mayor, you would very quickly disengage with the fucking election. Oh my God, some of those people are the stupidest cunts in the world. The one of them for the Social Democrat Party, it just says say no to woke. That's like her big tagline for her campaign. So, do you know what? And I just heard people talk about now after that Tom Brady thing. And it's just like, you know what? The people now that are just, you can't say anything, woke it, you know, it's over. It's over for both sides. It's over for the people who are like, no, you can't. And it's also over for those fucking, even more lame, in my opinion, people who are like, you can't say anything. The woke mob. It's just like, hey, both of your grifts are over. Yeah, no one gives a shit. Everybody just wants to hang out and have a good time. That's right. Shut the fuck up, the both of you. Yeah. Right? Yeah, you're not allowed to say the N-word. Right? Rightfully so. Ye over there. We are allowed to do Indian accents sometimes. And now let's just have fun. Let's just have fun. Yeah, Shut up. Somebody said that they, what comedian was it, said that he's sick of people complaining about everybody being woke. He's like, I've lost 2 words in 30 years. I'm doing fine. Yeah. I've never felt restricted. Anything I wouldn't say on stage is because I wouldn't say it in real life either. Yeah. Like that's I don't use the words I wouldn't use in real life. So I have never felt any restriction. Yeah, really. It was just fine. Yeah, it was absolutely fine. But anyway, you go, and so, some of the other ones, like Britain First, like the guy had taken his picture for the booklet on a fucking iPhone 6. It was like, how can you have a blurry picture and be running for mayor? This is just the stupidest shit ever. It's the independent candidates that are always fucking crazy as well. All that shit is just absolutely, and like London is quickly becoming a radical Islamist city. I don't recognise the place where I grew up. It's like, what? Yeah. How is this like political, actual political campaigning? How is this actually what people? But it's just populism, isn't it? Just kind of appealing to people's worst. That's right. Fears. Yeah, basist kind of. This is back to Edward Bernays. Yeah. We haven't talked about Lord Byron at all. Well, actually. I have so much Lord Byron stuff for the Patreon. So we'll get that's a good hook if you want. Lad, if you're wondering what Mike knows about Lord Byron, wonder no more. Sign up for the Patreon. But yeah, but then you show up to vote, and you've never felt like more of an infant than when you show up to vote. Yeah. There's just all these people who volunteer for democracy, and I just think it's so, they look down on you. And I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Right. I remember the first time I went to vote, they handed me the little slip and I just went to fill it out, and they went, no, go over to the wee table over there. And I'm like, right. Oh, I don't care if you know who I vote for. Yeah. But you just have to go up to these little thing with like the screens around you and do the little X there. So they made you feel less than. They made you feel
incompetent and unloved.
Well, they just like, you just have a feeling you're like, oh God, you're all better than me. And also the whole time you're just like, I don't feel like I've read enough to have an opinion on this.
Which is probably correct.
100%. I've read no manifestos.
That's right.
I'm going off pure vibes.
Just give me a wink, a smile.
Like,
I'm yours.
That sounds like a good guy.
That's right.
And he's like, because everyone's like, Sadiq Khan has turned London into a fucking hellscape. And I'm like, I live here and it seems all right. So I'm gonna say he should still be the guy.
Right. So Sadiq Khan. So a lot of people are giving Sadiq Khan.
I don't get why people hate him so much.
But what?
Is it because actually I do. He's brown. That's why.
Right. But like, see, that's my thing, and I think I'm just too oblivious in life, and maybe it's because I don't actually have to. I don't have children, and I don't have to engage with a lot of the structural things in society that might be incorrect, because I'm just floating around living like a fairy.
And also, I think if we had any concept of how much anything costed, rather than just hoping we have enough money at all times,
right?
You know, people who like budget stuff. When prices of things go up and when their energy bills, I don't know I pay our energy bills for this flat, and I don't know what they are.
Yeah, that's noise.
It's just like
noise.
And people are like, oh, energy bills are going up, and I'm like, they just take what they take.
Right.
And I have no idea. I've never looked.
Yeah, I do, because I am the energy man in our house. In every
Wait, what
way,
are you
shape,
with?
and form.
I'm with Octopus, and they take too much, I think, and then you have like loads of credit in your account.
I'm with a crowd called OVO, which is also the name of Drake's crew, but it's different. It's different.
You
people.
would hope.
I would hope. I hope to God. I don't want to be in with a pedo crew, like getting energy off the pedos, man. So I know,
just
but
pedos on treadmills is powering your TV.
Yeah, lads, that'd be a nightmare. But so anyway, so what we're saying, we're not that clued into the things that would affect you, especially if you're like trying to raise a family, you're on a fucking tight budget. All these little things would affect you a lot. We don't fucking. But when get that.
Yeah, and it's also weird when stuff like rears its head. I remember I went to like 3 different shops recently to try to get olive oil.
Yeah,
I was like none of them had olive oil. It was all vegetable oil, sunflower oil, and stuff. I was like, what the fuck's going on? And then I like Googled it, and they were like, oh, massive droughts across Italy because of climate change have caused real issues with olive crops, and therefore olive oil is really hard to get and really expensive now. And I was like, oh. Stuff around the world affects me.
I'd read that and I'd be like, oh, fuck. I'll never think about that again. I'll never think about that again. I guess olive oil is no longer a part of my life, and oblivious.
Yeah.
Walk away.
It looks like I'm a buttery boy from now on.
That's right. Lad, it is wild how, if everything is to be believed, the world is just, completely on the way out. The human species is on the way out. If we're to believe science and the fact that we're doing nothing about climate change, we could be a World War III impending, and like I'm just there like fucking worried about like where my next box of Pringles is coming from.
That's really it.
Like I love
when
Pringles.
I get home from work, I want my Pringles on the table.
Honest to God, yeah. I just think, did I eat all the last box of Pringles? Do I need to get a new one? That is genuinely a lot of my concern in my head.
Yeah.
And surely I deserve something like bad to happen to me because I'm not more
so unaware and
politically engaged or like. But then again, I think to myself, but like what I'm trying to do in my life, like it's become like comedy's going decently now, but to get to where I am, I need it to be completely
zoned in,
tunnel vision,
and therefore zoned out of lots of other things.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But also then, I think we've talked about this before, but then, do you know what? Like, maybe, like, I should maybe just know what's going on in my family and my friends, and then I'm not a fucking, news reporter. I don't need to know all the other stuff. Do I?
But what's also helpful for the election thing is you just go, sure, none of them keep their manifesto promises anyway, so you'd just be reading a bunch of lies if you read them.
That's right.
Less work for the boys.
I refuse to read lies. Everything that's ever written was a lie. I refuse to read.
Yeah, you can't trust everything you read in manifestos.
I'll just stare at trees and make up my own mind.
Sure, it'd be that you'd be picking the best of a bad bunch, wouldn't you? Bad of the devil, you just start saying platitudes that don't make any sense. Whatever means I don't have to vote.
One in the hand is worth 2 in the bush. I'm not voting.
But I will vote Bush because that's worth 2.
Fire is a great servant, but a terrible master. I will never vote. I shall never vote.
I will never vote in any election.
Yeah.
I think it's silly.
That's right.
But I did vote in the recent one, and
You
we
did.
show up, and you're just fucking, oh God, I'm doing the wrong thing. And they're always in the weirdest little places. You always have to kind of walk into like a primary school or like a church hall or whatever.
Yeah.
Which does mean that pedos can't vote, apart from the church hall. But
Yeah. Noise.
church hall, like community center type thing. You walk in, and there's a kind of big set of windows to the right hand side, people at tables here, and then the voting thing over to the left. And by the big set of windows, there is a robin redbreast flying up, trying to get out of the big set of windows, but they're not openable windows. They're just kind of big there, and it's just looking at the garden, keeps trying to fly up, land, can't get out, doesn't know what's, very, very stressed, anxious.
And did this
anxious
stress
bird.
you, this bird trying to escape?
No, but Jamali is a woman of the earth.
Well, she's
connected to nature.
but she can come. Correct me if I'm wrong. She can Can she talk with birds and stuff?
I mean, you would think so.
Right.
So we go over and we spoke to, and Jamali's there going, oh, that bird seems... And someone said, yeah, we tried to catch it with a big net. And then they point to this big fucking fishing net that they'd been like swinging in the direction of the bird. And we were like, yeah, I wonder why it's a bit fucking wound up. Jesus Christ, you stupid cunts. This is the problem with politically engaged people. They don't know how to do anything else. It's like, why are you trying to get... It's a tiny little bird.
It's the deadliest catch.
If you get anywhere near it with that net, you're going to snap it in half.
Right.
There's nothing going on. So, and they're like, should we give it another go? And Jamali's like, no, don't touch the net ever again. And she kind of like pulls the chairs out of the way, and it just stands there. And she
communicating with the bird at this
She
stage?
says, I'm just going to try and like gently catch it in my jumper.
Right.
And Jamali goes, come on over. She kind of beckons me over. She moves the chairs out of the way very quietly, jumper off, and she just starts to stand there.
Yeah.
And as the bird's kind of flying around, she goes, oh, I know. It's okay. It's okay. I know you're very stressed, but I'm here to help. Everything's going to be, oh, you don't quite trust me yet. That's okay. Like full sentences.
Yeah.
To a bird.
To the bird.
Yeah. And then occasionally the bird would fly all the way down the hall to the other end, and they'd open the door at the other end. But then people would just like spook as it was on its way, kind of heading towards the door. And I'm like, if you'd all stood still, it would have flown out the door.
Right.
But they're just there going, oh! And also it's a kind of rotating audience of people because people keep arriving to vote.
Right.
So everyone just sees Jamali stood by this window holding a jumper, not moving, and I'm just sat on one of the chairs, and these people coming in to vote walk in and just see this kind of mad woman, and they don't see the bird initially, they just see this woman
with a jumper held out
looking out the window,
trying to catch ideas by the looks of it.
I'm trying to decide who to vote for.
The jumper will tell me if I give it enough time.
This is my voting jumper.
This is a lie catcher. Catches the lies of politicians.
It's just in there, and then they start to spot the bird, and they go, "Oh, yeah." And then people just keep coming in with stupid ideas. This guy with one of those booming voices I've ever heard.
So how long is this bird gate going on?
We're there for, I promise, 45 minutes.
Right. Trying to solve the bird situation.
Yeah, we vote, and then it's 45 minutes.
Of bird.
Yeah, so we're there for an hour probably total.
Right.
And people keep coming over with stupid ideas. And we're like, eventually, like we're sat there and Jamali's like, oh yeah, put your hand on that windowsill there. And I'm just there being like, this is a nice day. This is a nice way to spend. We were supposed to go for lunch.
Yeah.
And
Are you hungry at this point? Man, I'd be so mad. I'd be like, listen, fucking Pocahontas, you're not able to communicate with birds. Let's get a burger. Fuck! I didn't even want to vote. You cannot talk to birds. This is not a real thing.
But then we're chatting away. She goes, oh yeah, it's okay. And then every so often, like we were getting really, really good. And the bird would start to kind of land closer to us. And it seemed to start trying to trust us. The bird lands on my hand 3 times.
Whoa. You're the friend of the bird.
3 different... Jamali always come along, fix that. Jamali always gets really annoyed that I have a real way with animals. I've got a calming aura. Also, well, Jamali says there's no way they could be more anxious than I am. So they immediately go, Jesus, there's no
I'm
point
scared.
in me.
He's scared. We're scared.
They're like, you get it.
Brother, how do we get out of here? Brother.
Yeah, she'll spend weeks like dog sitting and like trying to like gain the trust of this like dog. And be like, yeah, I finally got it to like sit next to me on the sofa or like lie down and let me rub its belly. And I walk in the door, never met the dog before. Immediately it's on its back going, scratch my belly. And I'm like, I have a way with the animals.
Oh, lad.
And I'm there and yeah, lands on my finger a few times. And I'm like, what'd I do?
Right.
And Jamali's like, nothing. And I'm like, okay. But it's just like, she's like, we're just gaining its trust.
You were like,
it just needs to know, and it's great that it knows that you're okay to land on your hand. And I was like, should I grab its foot? And she's like, no, you will snap its leg. You will absolutely snap its leg. And I was like, okay, but
maybe that was what needed to be done.
She was like, no. She was like, just let it land on you. The more it trusts you, the better. The more it trusts us, the better, right?
Okay.
And then we get some of the Democratic voting cunts to like get us a little like Tupperware full of water.
Yeah.
We put that down, and Jamali's like throwing quavers that somebody else had left half a packet of quavers there, so she's like feeding the bird.
The bird quavers.
Yeah. It was all we had.
Right.
Quavers are good for birds, I think.
Listen, lads, the bird. I feel like the bird would be like sick quavers.
Yeah, really good. Bird has a little drink, and immediately like all of its feathers get like better. It looked so bedraggled, but like it just kind of like.
After that, a quaver.
It looks a quaver and some water, and it was like, whoa.
It's kind of like spinach for Popeye, like.
And it just like look, and it starts to like do little songs while it's kind of flying closer and closer to me and Jamali.
Never mind, I'll find someone like you.
No, but and then
so it was singing Adele.
Yeah, it was singing Adele, and it was flying closer and closer, and lands on my hand a couple of times, and every time Jamali's like, "Don't panic," and as soon as a bird lands on your hand, your whole body goes.
The reason we're friends is because we both panic.
It's just like and it just feels like they're the lightest things ever. It feels like tiny little twigs on your finger. I was like, "Fuck, don't move!" And then
just panicking, bit its head off, and everyone's like, "Jesus fucking!"
I told you I was hungry.
I told you I wanted to go for lunch.
And it's flying closer and closer and closer. Jamali's there. And yeah, every so often somebody comes over. The guy with the most booming voice ever goes, "What if we just scared it towards the door?" And then the bird flies away again. I'm just like, can you just go vote Tory over there and fuck off, please?
You are not a friend of the birds.
Not a friend of the birds. It's going up and down, going up and down. And then we, again, 20 more minutes of just edging closer to the window, closer to the window, closer to the window. The robin lands, jumps. Jamali catches it in the jumper.
Oh!
Very gently. And it's so funny. After Jamali the whole time being like, it's okay, you can trust us. And you can see the bird like gradually coming around to the idea of us being like in its space or whatever. Yeah.
Do you think the bird at some point thought you were just two other big birds?
Yeah, I think on some level.
Right.
And then Jamali grabs it gently in the jumper, and immediately the bird's like, "What the fuck? I fucking trusted you to fucking grab me." And it's honestly, the noise he's making was like, rah, 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 rah,
so the
rah.
bird was very traumatized by Jamali's betrayal.
But it caught it very gently in the jumper though.
Right.
And just held on to it, got it in her hand, very, very gently. It also pooped on my finger at one point, which I was like, ugh. And Jamali was like, no, that means he trusts you. And I'm like, I don't think that's what's happened there.
No, that's the most charitable way of viewing it.
Yeah.
Really, it was probably a sign of severe disrespect.
Yeah.
Right.
And then
what are you going to do?
Jamali goes,
fucking anxious pussy.
And Jamali goes, oh, it's okay. I'm sorry. I know.
Right.
When we walk kind of like 100 yards down the road and let it go, and it flies up onto the branch of a tree, sings us a little song, and then fucks off.
What I would love to have happened
is an eagle to have caught it.
No, if you let it out 100 meters away and it just looks around and just flew straight back into the fucking
It threatened to. It flew back towards, and we were like, don't you fucking dare. I was like, listen, maybe he wants to vote. He's got his colours on his chest, as it were.
Nice.
But yeah, that was the bird saga. So we saved a little robin redbreast.
Did you get to go for lunch then?
Yeah, a quick one.
Yeah,
I think we got a meal deal on the way home.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
But it was an exciting day. I think it was. I was glad that if we'd spent the 45 minutes and not saved the bird,
yeah,
that would have been bad.
That would have stank, lad.
But we did it.
Lad, I think that we're going to have to go.
Yeah.
We're way over. I have a train story to talk to you about, a funny one from the tour. We're going to talk about challengers. Lord Byron, the classical English poet Lord Byron. I've been learning all sorts of scandalous shit about this fucker. So it's the 23rd, lads. Tour. If you are in Limerick, call MikeRiceComedy.com. I think we could be there today or tomorrow. Galway and Limerick are like fucking are today and tomorrow. I believe Limerick is tonight, Galway is tomorrow night, 23rd, 24th. Get tickets that come. I think that they might be sold out by now. Hopefully they are and you can't come, but if you can come, do come. Everybody come. Hey,
Have you ever considered plugging these shows in a slightly more gentle fashion?
Cork, Limerick, if there's still tickets available on 23rd and 24th, please come by the show. The Barras in Clonakilty in Cork, I believe there's still tickets left there. Our second show in Cork on Friday the 31st of May. I would appreciate your company at that show if it's not already sold out. All tickets at mikerice.comedy.com.
That was very nice. Very good job. What I will say is, as a general note, you have a mailing list set up, don't you?
Yes.
And what I will say is that Instagram and kind of social media generally is being a bit of a bollocks these days, and it's really hard to reach people, and like reels are getting squashed if you're not just doing like hacky, like influencery stuff. So please do sign up to our mailing list. I think that's just like, I just want to get like, that's the best way to find out about shows. I'm sick of like, somebody messaged me yesterday being like, I didn't know you were doing Paris, and I'm like, I feel like I've been talking about that fucking loads, but just like even your own followers don't see it. So I'll be at the Edinburgh Fringe all of August. Please just like spread the word, like share it. I think it's really important at the minute that people do all that boring shit. And then I'm extending my tour into the autumn. We're coming back to loads of places: Derry, Cork, Dublin, Belfast, Manchester, Cardiff, like all around, kind of lots of cool places, and adding some extra places as well. So if you could tell your pals about that, all that shit, it's just like, it just seems to get harder and harder to like you can post like clips and stuff and they can do well, but anytime you try to promote anything, you might actually get to do the thing that's our job. It's an absolute nightmare. So mailing list, and please fucking share stuff at the minute. It's especially if you see like a gig poster or a tour poster, like just get that fucking shared with your pals.
That would be lovely. The mailing list, I've no one on that. I've done nothing to promote it really. If you did sign up for that, it's in my link tree on my Instagram. Sign up for the mailing list. That'll be great. That's actually just panicked me there that I don't promote that enough. Also, I think maybe that was it. I've ran out of things to think.
That's cool, but sign up to the Patreon, patreon.com/.
I'll be doing a tour extension off as well. If you want me anywhere to come to, message me about it.
And send us your advice. Send us your advice. Send us just a bit of advice. Send us some advice. All that shit. We'll talk about all the fun stuff on Patreon. Look after yourselves. Patreon.com/parenting. Look, £3 a month. Do it. And we probably won't kill ourselves.
Maybe. All right, bye.
Save a life. Sign up to the Patreon.